My name is Delia. I'm the co-founder of Huhu AI. We built a new tool called Chat Designer, and I'm kind of the product manager. People can just directly talk to create image.
It's like a GPT for Photoshop. How does AI play the role of kind of helping us to edit an image just using our text?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically, it requires a lot of different models. For example, when you want to change the image of a cat to a dog, you will in our platform, you can just directly type change a cat to a dog. But like for the system, it needs to understand what is a cat, right? So we use
what is a
one,
cat?
yeah. So we use one model to identify this thing called a cat. Like it needs to understand what is a cat. So that is one model. I think it's called Dino. And then you need to segment the cat out. Like that is another model we use called segment everything. A lot of tools actually use it like to really segment the thing out as like this is the cat. Like it needs to draw the line of the cat automatically for you. And then it needs to cut this like cat out and replace it with a dog. So when you replace this with a dog, you cannot just directly use like maybe a dog image and then place it into your original image, because the surrounding of the dog is not going to fit very well. Like to make it very harmoniously, it needs to use like another model called like, for example, in Paint. And then it will need to understand that. So what is the surrounding of the cat's original in the original image, and it needs to understand. So if I put a dog into it, like how do I just fill the surrounded pixels with the original context that I know from this image to make it look harmonious. So that is the in-paint tool. Like it kind of reads the original image context and try to fill it out with the new replacements to make it look like this is the original image that's not being edited. So so that actually already include a lot of different models and a lot of like technology behind. And because we are a chatbot, like we also need to like understand all of this through our large language model. Like for example, you type in what you want, and we route to so many different tools. Like for example, we can also support things like remove background, right? Then the system will need to understand what is background and foreground, right, of an image. And then sometimes people want to create image with the same pose. Like for example, if I have a girl posing like sitting down, and I want an image with the same pose, now you can actually use a model called Control Net to do it, Control Net Open Pose. And then like you will need to really have like the system understand that. So for what kind of intention, which operation I should route it to. So we use this like large language model on top to understand your command and then route it to the right model to finally produce the image based on your request. So this is how it worked together in a simple way of explanation. Like deep down, there are very complicated like technology things that my technical team will probably be able to answer to kind of provide more details.
Yeah, it's very so my understanding is that the large language model is there to kind of be the demand translator and resource facilitator in a sense. So use your own words like AI agency or agent. So they try to understand, they parse your command apart and understand what exactly you need the system to do in what sequence, and then based on each step, they pair each step with a different function or sort of model to process your request in that way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Hmm.
Very
You can
interesting.
understand
Very
it that way.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's like a lot of models that you can use, and
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
there to decide which model
Hmm.
they want.
Yeah. Hmm.
I see.
Hmm.
Very
Hmm.
interesting. And then, can you share with us some um case studies that you've encountered that people are using this tool to process their images, especially in the learning and development space?
Yeah, so we have talked to some users of our platform, and it's quite interesting that how people use it. It's actually a very open space tool. So like we've seen, especially for learning, like sometimes people like there's one user that we interview with, and he kind of like tell us like show me like how he used his prompt, and I kind of felt it quite interesting that he used a lot of very abstract uh keywords, like for example like he will just like prompt something like emptiness, or like
Emptiness.
yeah, and then something like for example like a fulfillment, like those very
Mm,
abstract words, like and he explained to me that he kind of feels like this could be used for psychology study.
mm,
Is like sometimes people don't understand how to explain themselves, and then like you can like and he told me that maybe every day he can just make a monologue, and then he could potentially transcribe those monologue into an image, and then have that image kind of like uh, describe or like visualize what his mood is every day. And I feel that is like a very niche use case that I've never think about. And he feels like this could be really helpful in maybe psychology understanding, like to try to understand like what this person's personality is, um, by just like showing the images, and then having them kind of choose like, okay, because we generate 4 images for every generation, and you can just like choose like which one describes the best of your thinking. And this is a very I would say very niche use case. Some more popular use cases are like, for example, um, we've seen people using line art like for child education. Like for example, you can actually just like create a line art of and like those line art. Like remember back in the day, there was one time Secret Garden coloring
yeah.
book was so interesting, like so popular.
De-stress.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
I actually have 2 of those in at home, and then you can now create all of those like line arts by just using one simple prompt. I actually created one for my son, like for for Halloween. Like I can actually say that create a line art of a bat, and then create a line art for me, and then I can just print it out and then have him just like color it. So I don't have to just like buy those sheets for coloring. I have a 4-year-old, and I sometimes read a book to him, and then there are some really interesting exercise like five differences between these 2 images.
Mm,
Like I kind of feel like, yeah, you can actually use our tools to do that, like by just like, okay, so this is the image. You can just replace the ball with like a pot, and then you can easily create those images in an easy way. Like in the past, you have to probably ask someone to Photoshop it, but now it's just
mm,
like a few prompts away. So that is
mm,
also another use case that I feel like it's probably going to be really interesting. Another interesting stories that I saw from some users of our platform is that they sometimes use our um, like the description. They copy the description of a book, like for example, some scene description, character description of a character in the book, and put it in our in our platform, and then they create like an image of the character or of the scene, and they kind of compare like, oh, is this really something that in my imagination, does it fit with my imagination? I've seen that from this user of our platform. I've also seen some influencer online, like when they are just doing those like knowledge sharing, sometimes they're just like talking about some really ancient time description of a book, and then now they can actually visualize those scenes by just putting those description in like image generators, and then it creates like a scene, like for example a sword, like how does it look like, how what is it described in the book, like you can actually like just copy the entire description in the book, and then it will automatically create an image that looks like that that
So it's like
sword,
an
and then you can just use
illustrator.
it. Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned about that, and I think there could be like use cases for like a workplace learning or adult learning in different disciplines
Mm-hmm.
or different environments by maybe at by comparing two images and one image removing one of the critical element or maybe a safety thing
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that people
Mm-hmm.
forget to buy, maybe in the medical training environment or
Mm-hmm.
manufacturing places
Mm-hmm.
where they need to process the info, image information a lot, and then you can create learning opportunities in that way.
Yeah, 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 definitely.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And you also mentioned about like different type of images. What role do you think inclusion or diverse images play in that process? Have you encountered any users that are creating inclusive images or maybe challenges that they've encountered?
Yeah, I think it's definitely an area that AI images could probably work better. Because I myself also encounter some of that, and I heard from some of our users is that we have a feature called portrait photo, like which is like
Mm,
um you can just upload one selfie image of yourself, and then you can just ask it to create a portrait in whatever look and scene you want. And it's a quite popular feature that we have right now in our platform. And there was this one users who we talked to. Like he kind of complained that if he doesn't put very specific prompts, the model will always envision him into some Caucasian guy, but he's not. So he and for me, I encounter something like that because I'm Asian. But like sometimes when I put my image up, and then if I just did not put any more details into the prompt, it will automatically just give me blonde hair. So
yeah.
yeah, so I think this is kind of the reason that some of the existing image generation models, they still are very like specific. I wouldn't say it's very specific, but the feeding data are probably still very like generic, like focus on a certain race. And we do
Mm,
see some needs with like AI being like so popular around the world. Like it
mm,
definitely needs to be more like dynamic, right? And then
mm,
what we also found on our platform is that um, like there are a lot of users who are not English speaker,
mm,
and they are kind of like using non-English prompts in our tools. Um,
mm,
yeah, and sometimes they are like just but right now with the like we kind of use like OpenAI as our language model, and it can understand all types of different languages.
mm,
Like but in terms of really like getting the correctness, like English is probably still the best compared with other languages. But like for example, some very simple thing, like for example in our platform,
mm,
if you want to write very complicated prompts to generate an image, it's probably not going to be very aligned. But if you are going to say that replace a cat with a dog in a different language, it actually understands. So
mm,
that makes me feel like in this AI world, like the challenge like stays in the more diverse we want, and the more languages or like different look and feel like should be coming as like more data. Like we should kind of collect more data in a more diverse way to make AI more inclusive. But in the same time, the language model has already gone that far. Like it already minimized the potential needs to localize the AI tool into like attract so many more users. Like now people like who don't really understand how to write English, they can actually use like non-English keywords or prompts in our tools, or like for example in ChatGPT, like, and it understands. Although like the performance might be a little weaker compared with English, but like it's still like much easier compared with in the old time. You have to translate everything, you have to localize everything in your platform for people to be able to use it. Now it's probably much easier. So language model, I think that diversity and inclusion is actually getting better. Like the image like generation, I feel like it needs some time to catch up.
Okay, what are some particular challenges that you have encountered? Can you share that with us a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like because we are a chat-based image generator and editor, and we have so many different operations and models, and like we are not a graphic UI, like it's all chat-based, so like it really has a high dependency on how the language model can understand the user's intention and route it to the right operation and route it to the right model. And we see that this really depends on the language model itself, like the accuracy, the alignment, and the performance is like highly related to the model we use. Like GPT 3.5 is probably okay. GPT 4 is like much better. But like GPT 4 is like much more expensive than GPT 3.5. And for us, like as a new startup, we are not able to kind of like charge a high price from our initial users. And so the efficiency and the accuracy and the cost is like a balance that we have to manage. Also, like this kind of like route to another challenge that I think every AI company will encounter is like the cost. Like AI tools are not the same as like the old generation like internet tools. That you build something, you put in there, the cost is fixed. Like the more users you got, the higher scale or economic scale it could be. Like for AI companies is not the same. It's like the more users you get, the potentially the higher the cost because every operations, yeah, people require inference cost. And inference cost is like for example like we use like sometimes like some companies could have their own chips like the GPUs, and they have to purchase those GPU, which is kind of expensive and it's hard to get. It's like a very scarce resources that every company is trying to get. But but once you have those chips, like they could depreciate over time. Like, and then like for example, the harder you use those chips, the easier they got depreciate, and then you have to buy new chips. So like the cost is mostly the GPUs, and then if you don't buy your own like GPUs, you could potentially rent it from some cloud services like AWS or Google Cloud or some or Azure, like those services. And then for those services you will have to like pay their rent, like the AI rent, the AI chip
The
rent,
AI
and
rent.
then and then you also
So
have
many
to
rent to pay
pay,
nowadays.
yeah, and you also have to pay the influence cost. Like that is like every and the influence cost is used for like sometimes your users operations and sometimes your model training. So all of them is like very costly, especially when you have a like higher number of users, and if they are very active, like your cost is like even higher. So it's not like it's not like a like economic scale that like the old school products. AI is
Mm,
like puts the challenge in front of every startup, AI startup, or like just like even bigger companies. Like you have to worry about how you make money, because the higher the cost,
mm,
you will need to really have a business model to make it sustainable.
mm,
So that I would say that is the biggest challenge for a lot of AI companies, not just for
mm.
us, but for other AI
Everyone.
companies as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And you also mentioned about the open AI challenge as well. So they are.
yeah. It like yeah, OpenAI also has this challenge. Like, I think there was one saying that they have 1 billion income, but they spend 10 billion on their chips. Yeah, it's like on their chips and potentially on their inference costs. And they because they also train models. Like they train their
Mm,
models, and models is like very demanding on GPUs. So like the that's also a big challenge for like bigger company. Like even I think both
mm,
bigger company and smaller companies are very struggling on this like computing resources at the moment.
mm.
Yeah, the best companies right now is probably Nvidia. Like they are the ones selling all those chips. Yeah, so
Yeah,
everyone needs
Navita
them.
is
Yeah.
that's that's the hot topic right now. And I think also chips iterate and they get improved over time, and different companies are trying to innovate and build their own chips and GPU so they can process more
Mm-hmm.
information at a faster speed in a higher
Mm-hmm.
quality. So I guess it's a never
Mm-hmm.
ending race,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
What kind of trend, like since you are in the trenches, like building the tools and interacting with
Mm-hmm.
people who are using it and creating that thing for their different purposes, what kind of what trend do you see from your perspective that's coming on the AI side?
Yeah, I can probably speak for the AI image generation and
Mm,
editing side, or maybe from the design perspective. I would talk to some designers, and I feel like that this AI image generation and AI editing tools has
mm.
become like a skills that all the designers will need to learn. And also like it lower the barriers for even individuals. Like for example, in the past, for you to Photoshop, you might need designer to do it for you, right? But nowadays, like it's probably if you have a AI tools and like us, you can just directly talk to the tool and then have it do it for you. Then you no longer need like a designer to kind of like do this like pixel manipulations things. So I think there are two trends. One is that the efficiency is going to be much higher compared with before. Like when I talk to those designers, they all agree that like nowadays like they all need to learn how to use the AI image generators. And the ones who are really good at those get the best like results and get the best efficiency. And this will
Mm,
be an industry trend that potentially one day like all the designers will know like how to use like this AI generators, and then it's like an imagination thing. It's like the better
mm,
like imaginations you have, the um and the better execution you have, um your those people win, right? So
mm,
and then efficiency is no longer an issue. Like when I talk to those designers, they were kind of like saying that if everyone is able to use it, then the efficiency is going to be the same for everyone again. Like they no longer need to no one is actually like more efficient than the others. Like they are probably
mm,
just efficient, equally efficient, and then you are bringing the entire industry's efficiency to a new level. And then you kind of like work on like potentially something else to kind of like
mm,
make it even faster. Yeah, so efficiency is one thing. The other thing is like when you lower the barrier to all like regular individuals, it kind of like could potentially have an imagination explosion. Like for example, I have a lot of different ideas myself in the past, but I don't know how to do it or I don't know how to make
Mm.
it. But now with the tools being so easy to use, I now know how to do it. There was one number, it's like over like since like AI image generator got invented, the total image generated has been um, way more than probably the past 150 years since the photography was invented. Like
Mm.
just 1 year, the
Just
total
1 year.
image
That's
generated by
fast.
AI, yeah, have surpassed the past 150 years since the like photography has been invented. So and like nowadays, like billions of images are actually being created online using AI image generators. So so that means like a lot of people now have the ability to create
Mm.
things in their mind, right? They can
Mm.
visualize their imagination a little better. And
Mm.
then that could potentially like produce um, like a lot
Mm.
more like sparkles of ideas or like things that are like maybe even good better work. Like for example in the
Mm.
past, like for example I don't know how to draw like write or draw something. Now I can draw something or like create something in a very fancy way. I can have a lot of like fantasy like put into my work.
What kind of role do you think the original artists will play in a world
Mm-hmm.
where people can just do an artistic product through text rather than years of artistic training? Will
Mm-hmm.
they still be needed? Will they be pivoting to a different role?
Mm-hmm. I think they are still needed. I think the aesthetic piece is something that like designers, like artists are definitely going to be better than
Mm.
like regular users. Like for example, even prompt writing. If you think about like
Mm.
prompt writing, like you don't know what style, like regular
Mm.
users are feeling that their writing is like their prompt writing is really hard is because like they don't know what their styles are and they
Mm.
don't know like all of this like how to describe them right in the right
Mm.
way, right? So so artists and designers, I feel like AI tools is for their efficiency building. And some designers are actually complaining that okay, so now like if they're doing some like for example some work for pay, then it's going to be influenced for sure. Like we've seen some data showing that since ChatGPT got invented, like it seems like a lot of those freelancers pay actually decreases significantly.
Mm.
Um, but I feel like it's probably a transition period of time that the creativity is always the key. The creativity, the imagination, the skills is always the differentiator. Like those people will need to really understand how leverage the existing tools
Mm.
to build on top of their skills, like to leverage the tools for like better efficiency or like to kind of like create things in a better way. But like if you think about like even now I have the tools like the AI generation tools, I still
Mm.
cannot generate a lot of images that look very nice compared with those like designers who know exactly what they are going to to get out from those tools. So I think
Mm.
this is actually the aesthetic difference and also the aesthetic gap between regular people and designers or artists,
Mm.
and also the knowledge gap. like I don't know how to explain like
Mm.
how my image should look like. But like designers or artists could potentially be better at that. But if you are kind of like doing some very like practical things, like for example just like change this to this, that is like very efficient, right? Like
Easy.
you
Yeah.
don't have to have a lot of those. So like, but even those operations, the designer, it's not the key, not the key competitiveness of good designers. Like if you ask those designers, do you like to do like pixel manipulation, they will tell you no. Those are the things that they hate the most. Yeah, so they like the imagination, creative work, but AI now I think is like able to do the legwork for them, for some
Mm.
things that are not very like interesting to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So to kind of sum up, the artists, the designers will have the conceptual understanding, grasp, and terminologies and descriptive power to
yeah.
express what they want better.
Mm-hmm.
For common images that does not require too much
Mm-hmm.
of artistic creations,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
actually democratizing the power
yeah.
back to the people, and everybody are able to create something. So as we approach to the end of the conversation, um, the kind of the final question is, what do you think is your magic
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
this whole process?
So it's like I feel like I'm just like an ordinary person, like living in an ordinary life, and and like for a long time, like before I kind of started this idea and this project, I've been kind of like feeling that I don't have the power to do so. Like and there was just like one one day, like because you have a lot of like imagination, you have a lot of dreams, but like you just never really like do it, right? Like and I think for me the magic kind of starts when I think it was like last year, my doctor told me that I'm probably training a little overweight. And then I
Ouch.
started I started working out and keep a very healthy diet. Like I kind of spent 4 months and then I lost almost 20 pounds. And then it kind of like changed me a little bit. Like I feel like by then I feel like, oh, I can actually do just like very simple thing. I actually made a whole plan for my keep fit
Fitness
schedule.
plan.
And then the fitness plan, and then I kind of follow that along the process. Oh, and then when I finally reached my goal, I actually had a goal that like this is the way that I wanted to achieve. And when I finally reached that goal, I feel like, yeah, it seems like I can do it. And I can do it, but I really have a plan. And that actually changed me a lot. I think the magic is really to believe in myself. To that, like, if you want to do something, you do it. And then, like, and that made me feel like, okay, so you want to create something for your kids, you want to, like start a company, then do it. And then you just like start by making a plan, and then you break it down into small pieces, and then you just like move bit by bit. I think it's also quite of a lucky thing, is like when you have this mindset, you could potentially meet people who are like you. It's like a law of attraction.
Law of
It's like it's
attraction, yeah.
really like the law of attraction is like when you are really thinking about, like, because back then, like when I was thinking about transitioning to AI, I actually started looking on a lot of different places, like if they are hiring AI product managers. But like here, when I kind of like wanted to like talk to my co-founder, I feel like, yeah, it seems like you have like some better ideas that you can actually work on. So it's like if I didn't really think about it, I wouldn't really have this opportunity to talk to someone. I wouldn't make that video, right? I wouldn't make that video at the first place. I wouldn't post it on my social network. I wouldn't really have this like like attraction to my co-founder. So I feel like I'm really believing a lot of attraction. So it's like the one thing is like really to believe in yourself, that you have the ability to do something, and then you believe in this like law of attraction. Like the more you think about something, the more you are working towards that, it will actually make it happen. So yeah. So I think that is my
That's
magic.
that's
Mhm.
a very important message that our audiences
Mhm.
need to
Mhm.
hear. Because
Mhm.
the world makes us feel sometimes make us feel small. Like whatever the
Mhm.
media is highlighting is always very important people, or whatever the traditional sense see as important, while the
Mhm.
majority of us are working our best to achieve our
Mhm.
dreams. So there's no dream
Mhm.
too small. Always believe in
Mhm.
yourself. So I like
Yeah.
I like how we conclude this conversation. So thank you very much,
Yeah.
Dahlia, for sharing with us your stories on building
Yeah. Thank
Huhu
you for having me.
AI. Great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,